Oh, Theresa May, that is, the British Prime Minister. Betting agencies here are offering 5-to-1 odds that she won't make it to the end of the year before being forced out. So what's the problem? Well, to begin with, the pound has dropped again. And that's just after a report in the Sunday Times that 40 Conservative MPs are willing to sign a letter of no confidence in May. That's still short of the number needed to force her to step down, but it's more than enough to make her worry. Many Conservative MPs have been angry at her since last June, when she called a snap election she didn't need to and lost them, their majority. 5 months later, the overwhelming image of her government is of one in meltdown. Last week, May was forced to lose 2 cabinet ministers, her defense secretary, who's facing allegations of sexual harassment, and the international development minister, who admitted to 12 secret meetings with Israeli officials while she was on holidays, and not a word to her prime minister. Delicious. Next stop, the foreign secretary, May's nemesis, Boris Johnson, the one with all the hair. Despite blunder after blunder, he's still in his job and after hers. But May is seen as too weak to remove him because he was a key campaigner to leave the European Union. That brings us to the elephant in the room, Brexit. The British Parliament, just across the river here, is this week debating what's known as the EU withdrawal bill. But negotiations are far from over.
Nobody actually paid any attention to what leaving actually meant.
And rebel Conservatives are threatening to back Labour MPs who say May is trying to avoid giving Parliament a final say on a deal. So why is May still standing? Partly because she simply doesn't give up. It's just not in her nature. But mainly because there's no clear or potentially healing alternative in her own party. The paralysis over the EU and Brexit is nothing new for the Conservative Party. It was ever thus, and it haunts them still. Neither faction's strong enough to break the internal deadlock. That's why some pundits here say May is going nowhere, that she's gone from her old campaign adage of strong and stable,
leadership,
to weak but stable. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.